I hope you're having a wonderful time and drinking a lot of beer or margaritas. We're going to change gears here and consider one of the major segments of American music. You know, I usually do cowboy songs and blues, but there's another segment that I really enjoy, and that is telling the stories of the men, particularly in the 30s and 40s after the Dust Bowl and the Great Depression, who made their way around the country riding the rails. One of the great problems of riding the rails is the brakemen, whose job it was to check the cars and to wave them on if they were all clear, were also responsible for kicking ass and taking names of hobos who tried to hop onto the boxcars or what have you. So it was a difficult life for those and other reasons. And some of those brakemen and those railroad bulls, as they were called, were meaner and tougher than others. Down in the scrub oak country of the southeast Texas Gulf, there used to ride a brakeman. He was a brakeman double tough. He worked the town of Longview and Kilgore 12 miles down. And the travelers all said that old Texas Red was the meanest bull around. If you rode the rails in cold moonlight or the heat of the blistering sun, you would always find East Texas Red sporting his smooth running gun, and the tail switched out down the stems and the mains, and the travelers all said that the meanest dick on the shiny iron was little East Texas Red. Well, it was on a cold and a wintry morning, long about 9 or 10. A couple of beaux on the hunt of a job, well, they stood in that blizzardy wind. Hungry and cold, they knocked on the doors of the working folk around for a piece of meat or a spud or two, just to boil their stew pot round. Race Texas Red, he come down the line, and he dropped off old number 2. He kicked their stew pot over a bush, and he dumped out all of their stew. One of the beaux said, "Mr. East Texas Red, well, you better get your business straight, 'cause you're gonna ride your little black train just 1 year from this day." Well, old Red just laughed, and he climbed up the bank, and he swung on the side of a wheeler. Well, the boys caught a tanker out to Seminole, and then west up to Amarillo, and they hit them some work on an oil field job, and they followed that pipeline down. It took them a hell of a lot of places before a year had rolled around. Then on one cold and wintry day, they caught them a Gulf-bound train. They rattled and shook with dough in their clothes to the oak scrub lands again. Over frozen roads and sandy hills where the cotton wagons roll through, straight to the town of Kilgore and on into old Longview. In their new warm clothes, in their overcoats, well, they walked into a store and they paid the man for some meat and some spud just to boil their stew once more. Then they followed the ties to the cinder dump and they came to that same old spot where East Texas Red, just a year gone by, had spilled their last stew pot. Smoke from their hire grew higher and higher, and a man come down the line, ducking his head in the blowing wind. He swung off old number 9, and he followed the ties to the cinder dump, and he came to that same old spot. And there he found those same 2 men sitting round that old stew pot. Well, Red fell to his knees and he hollered, "Oh please, don't you pull off that trigger on me. I never did get my business right, but Red never got his say, for a gun wheeled out from an overcoat and it played that old one too. And Red was dead before those men sat down to eat that stew." The moral of that story is be nice to the people you meet, because you're going to meet them on the way back.